When you get clear on what your values are, what success really looks like, and then align your actions accordingly, that's when you can really start creating a calmer business. Because calm businesses are engineered, they're constructed. They don't just happen. They take forethought, they take planning, they take design. And that's what we're diving into in this mini-series. What are the common elements that all calm businesses have built into their foundations? The first and arguably most important foundational element of a calm business is clarity. But what does that mean? One of my favorite dictionary definitions is freedom from ambiguity, which I think is actually kind of great, but I think this could be simplified a little bit. For me, clarity means both explicit and unambiguous. And when it comes to business, that means that everyone knows what's important and what to work on. In a business that's clear, success is transparently and explicitly defined, whether that's in the form of value statements, goals metrics, written handbooks. Everyone knows what you're aiming for. Likewise, values are also equally explicit. Everyone knows what's important and what to prioritize when it comes to making hard choices. Are we prioritizing profit or are we prioritizing people? Are we emphasizing growth or are we focusing on building systems so we can aim for maintenance mode? These are critical pieces of information, and it's important that everyone in your business understand them. That's the benefit clarity gives you. But how does clarity make things calmer? Well, let's start with the benefits of clear communication. Now, research shows that when organizations have clear communication, employees are generally more engaged and they're more satisfied with their jobs. That means there's less turnover, there's less time spent training, and there's more institutional knowledge generally. And that equates to calmer business operations because you can consistently be building and improving instead of training and basically starting over from the beginning, which is pretty much what happens when you have a bunch of team members turn over again and again. Also, happier team members, they are more committed, they do better work, and are generally more productive. Not to mention that when team members are really clear on what they're supposed to do, they can do a better job of effectively allocating their time and their resources, so the most important priorities get the most attention. Now, all of that means that work generally is more effective, and that can make it feel a lot calmer. Clarity equals calm. Now, hey everyone, I want to tell you about a tool I use in my own business and with my clients, Float. Managing cash flow can be daunting, with the constant fear of running out of cash, missing critical details, and making uninformed decisions. Float makes managing cash flow and planning for the future so much easier. What sets Float apart is its direct method of forecasting. Unlike other tools that rely on high-level assumptions, Float uses actual transactions to give you a realistic picture of your cash flow. You can easily add new projects or scenarios to see how they'll impact your cash flow without dealing with complicated spreadsheets. Plus, Float helps you quickly answer those what-if questions, giving you and your clients clear, quick answers. If you want to stay on top of your finances and make better decisions, give Float a try. It's a game changer for any business owner or fractional CFO. Head to floatapp.com or just click the link in the show notes to learn more and start your free trial today. I will say that clarity, that is not the default. Most businesses, most business communications are full of jargon. There's secret subtext and cultural rules that you wouldn't know about if you just walked in the door. The corporate business world seems to pride itself on buzzwords that don't mean anything. They go on visioning retreats to come up with mission and vision statements that are really just there for marketing materials. They don't actually mean anything. And that, well, that's not good. That lack of clarity, that lack of meaning, is really the reason that so many people accidentally build default businesses. Those ones that emphasize and prioritize growth while sacrificing everything else. Because it honestly never really occurs to business owners, especially those who come out of corporate culture, to just stop and take a minute and figure out what is important. What are their priorities? What do they want to build their business towards? And stopping to think about that, stopping to get that clarity, is a critical step. Now, there are a few different aspects of clarity that all help build towards a calmer business. The first we've talked about, that idea that everyone in the business knows what's important, knows where you're going, and they know how you want to get there. The second part is a little bit more tactical. Everyone in the business has to know what their role is and what the expectations are for that role. They also need to understand the big picture of the company and how that impacts their role. That information allows them to make informed decisions for their area because they understand the implications of their choices company-wide. So, you might be asking, how do you actually go about building clarity into your business? Well, there are really a lot of different places you can start moving towards more clarity for your team. For example, you can share what your version of success looks like. Talk about what's important to you, share why it's important, and help them understand what role each one of them plays in moving towards your definition of success. You don't have to get as tactical or as transparent as sharing financials, although if you want to and feel comfortable doing that, great. But it doesn't really have to be that direct. It could just be a conversation at your next team meeting about where you're headed. If you do want to get a little bit more explicit than that, a great place to start building is in your team onboarding materials or in your employee handbook if you have one. These are great places to talk about priorities. You can explain inside jokes that you might have, or even have a how we work section talking about how you approach work at your company. How does work get done? Are you a meeting first kind of place? Or do you communicate primarily written or asynchronously? Writing down those kinds of things can help you define and explicitly communicate how work happens at your company. Even small projects like writing down how a specific task happens. So, who does it? What tools are you using? What are the steps in this task? That can help improve clarity around tasks and how specific work happens, and also make it easier to hand off work between team members. Now, this doesn't have to be something that happens all at once. In fact, it probably won't happen like that. Starting to improve the clarity in your business, it's a gradual process. It happens a little bit at a time. But making being clear a priority ultimately benefits everyone in and around your business. Being very clear about what's important, how work happens, and what everyone's role is, that is a critical component in building a calmer business. And that clarity is something that absolutely has to be in place for our second foundational element to exist, autonomy. Now, you cannot build an autonomous work culture without everyone being clear first, or else they won't actually have the information they need to be able to make autonomous decisions or to own their area of the business. So that's the element we'll be deconstructing next time, autonomy. So make sure you hit subscribe in your favorite podcast player so you don't miss it. Big thanks to everyone who supports Beyond Margins. If you are a listener, a sponsor, or a partner of any kind, I absolutely couldn't do this show without you. For more ideas, tools, and resources about how to build a calmer business with comfortable margins, head to beyondmargins.com. While you're there, you can sign up for my free newsletter. I send it every week, and it's all about exploring and deconstructing what it takes to build a calmer business. Thanks so much for listening.